Obesity in children, the weight of our children's futures.
You're listening to the Live, Live, Play podcast.
Welcome to the Live, Live, Play podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Kinsella, and today I'm discussing the topic of obesity in children in Ireland. This topic it's talked about a fair bit. It's been on the national news, it's been on the radio. We work with a lot of kids in our program. We find that sometimes we get kids that would be on the heavier side. But when I did the research and I started looking into it a little bit more, some of the stats actually kind of shocked me a little bit. And what we're doing as a society on the outside looks like we're being proactive, but when it comes to looking at how it can actually work, maybe we're missing or we're dropping the ball a little bit. Have some studies, any kind of reference I give from specific studies will be in the show notes below. Please feel free to read them. Also, one of the last studies were conducted, that I found, and anyway, seemed to be a fair long time ago, so I think some of them might be wrong, or it could be getting better, not too sure. So let's begin, let's get into it. Even with the growth of all the activities in Ireland for kids, schools have bigger initiatives. There's more sports, there's more inclusivity. Like gyms like myself that do kids fitness. There's like jump zones and skill zones. There's actually more productivity, more availability for kids to do more activity, but yet our nation is getting bigger and our kids are getting bigger. Why are we dropping the ball? If there's more availability than ever, why is this happening? And there's a few things, and I've got my own few thoughts on it, and I'm going to share them with you today. So I'm just going to read out some stats that I've seen, that I've read about. So these are the stats from the HSE report, a survey done over many of years between the findings over 2008, 2010, 2012, and 2015. Okay, at least 1 in 5. Actually, since I read this, I've also read something else. 1 in 5 or 1 in 4 are overweight or obese in this country. That's children. Now, it's not surprising because 6 out of every 10 adults in this nation are overweight or obese. 6 out of 10. And it comes down to the fact as simple as monkey see, monkey do. Okay? So children tend to follow what is the norm surrounding them. And you know that saying of like you're influenced by the 5 people around you. That's generally the family unit. So you got to look at that from a point. And I'm not saying it's family. There's a bunch of different categories here that cause obesity in children. So we're going to kind of get it, but let me move on. So at least 5 more girls than boys are overweight or obese across all the ages. So in this study, they did they went with different age ranges, and as the stats came through, the girls tend to be more overweight, and actually as they get older, girls tend to actually have a higher rate of obesity than boys. Now, whether that's true, though, boys will kind of more naturally lean towards sports in their teens. We're not sure. Again, it's one variable of a huge issue that we're trying to look at today. Kids that attend DEIS, delivering quality of opportunity in schools, tend to have a higher level of overweight or obese, and the gap becomes even wider as the children gets older. So again, that is a school would be considered a disadvantaged school, would tend to have a more kind of a weight issue or obese issue, and as the kids grow older, it tends to become more prevalent. So again, this is all stated from the study. The study is from the HSE, and again, as I said, the show notes. It's a very big study, but these are the findings that I read. But these will be in the show notes. So, with the ever-growing convenience of life, food, and general activity, it was no wonder this was going to happen. The adult nation is getting bigger. 6 out of 10 adults are overweight or obese. So it makes sense that our children follow suit. Again, as I said before, monkey see, monkey do. We consume more food than ever and move less. The basic of calories in versus calories burned kind of says it all. And I know some people will disagree with that saying, but I'm going to get into it in a second. Even if food had not been increased, the lack of movement has been reduced. So here's my point. This is something I was speaking to a parent about before. We as a nation, and as a race around the world, apparently in the Western world, we are moving less. And even if you consume the same diet from say 10 to 20 years ago, where there'll be more than likely less processed food in the household diet, even if we're consuming that diet right now, we are moving less. So if you're still consuming, we'll just say 2,000 calories a day. We're just for argument's sake, we're just doing these numbers. 2,000 calories a day, and we are moving less. I'm burning about 1,500 calories per day, or even 16 or 17. That compounding effect over years is going to cause weight gain. It's simple, because we're moving less. We could still be eating the same, it still could be considered a healthy enough diet, but we're not moving as much. So yes, we're going to gain weight. That is what's happening, I think, across the board. Because we do see when we speak to parents and I speak to people, I say, well, we do have a good, healthy family lifestyle, nutrition habits, but why would my child be getting bigger? Well, that could be it. Okay, so kids are playing less. Despite, this is more from the study, kids are playing less despite the plans to reduce the obesity rate by 10% by 2025. So 5 years they want to decrease, and this was from 2015 or 2017. They want to decrease by 10%. Fuck that. Sorry for language, right? Get rid of it straight away. Put in the initiatives, put in the work, put in the education. That is downright lazy. 10%, 1 in 4. Really? Your children? Come on. Let's kind of move on from that, will we? Okay. So again, this is more speech from. This is kind of what their plan of action is and how they can do it. And the plan of action comes across really good, but it's leaving out some things. Well, in my opinion, they're leaving out some. So obesity policy and action plan required across multiple sectors, including actions such as reformulation of food products to reduce sugar, fat and salt levels, reducing exposure to marketing and promotion of foods high in fat, salt and sugar, fiscal measures such as proposed sugar tax, and increasing access to free drinking water in schools. I'm sorry. Not once did it mention education of the child on food. Not once did it mention activity of the child in food. Not once did it mention the parents controlling the food that comes into that house. Education. It just says what we will look to do. They're going to stop marketing? No, you're not. Marketers will find a way. You're not going to stop marketing. And here's why. Because there's too much money. You put a sugar tax on, bigger companies are just gonna go all in and bite all that market up. That's the way it's going to work. It's very simple. Here's then the 6 steps that they're saying to for the households. Right, reduce portion sizes. Very good. Not necessarily need to be eating less food. As I said, it could be more of an activity issue because you got to look at all the variables. I think each individual each individual kid will have a different aspect or a different approach. Manage treat foods, not every day. It's not a fucking treat. Again, language. It's not a treat if it's every day. It's a habit. I say this to my adult clients. It's not a treat if it's every damn day. People, seriously, if it's every day, it's not a treat. It's habit. It's breakfast. I have breakfast every day. It's not a treat. I like my breakfast. It's not a treat. going out for breakfast once a week, or going to a nice restaurant for dinner, or treating yourself to something once a month, that's a treat. If you're allowing your kid to have chocolate every single day, or ice cream, or something along those lines, that's not a treat. That is habit. That is you. Change it. Oh, my child will go mad. You're the adult. Let's be honest. You're the adult. You control the room. Replace sugary drinks with water. I get that a lot of kids would drink like Monster and stuff like that. I don't think Monster should be sold to anyone under the age of 18. I really don't. I don't think they should be drinking that stuff. It's not good for them. They don't need it. They don't need that caffeine kick at all. Make being active fun. Yes, the one thing I do really agree with. You gotta make activity fun. Not all kids want to play team sports. This is going to be another podcast I'm going to talk about kids and sports, playing and activity and strength training and all that stuff. But making active fun. That is huge, and that can be a parental thing as well. Parents can help out there. Have less screen time, 100%. We got to use our imaginations more. We got to kind of switch off from the grid or unplug from the grid, 100%. And encourage more sleep. That is a big one. Sleep plays a very big and important part. But again, some of these things can be done. They can be implemented straight away. Some of them can. And then it goes on to looking at the different kind of age groups, or like, for instance, they say class sizes. So 21. So this is schools. Okay, so the disadvantaged school has 21% versus 16.5%. The DEIS school, sorry, for first class. That's the difference between obesity rates. In kids that are in fourth class, the DEIS schools are 30%, and again, other schools are 18%. And then in sixth class, it's 32%, where the obesity rate has grown, and it's 18.4. So you can see there is a separation. I know I kind of went from one topic to the other there, but like it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy to see. I'm just gonna have some of my coffee. Now, moving on to the kind of health risks in that go along with that. There is all sorts of problems that will come from having being overweight or obese. Now, let's clear one thing before we get into this. This is not fat shaming. Before, because we hear a lot about it now, it is not fat shaming. The health of a child is optimal weight, is optimal muscle density, bone density versus body fat on their body. A child that would have more weight on their body, or is considered obese or morbidly obese, that is not healthy. Okay, it is not healthy, and it's not putting them down. It's trying to educate them that we need to change, and we are all dealt a genetic lottery. I was an overweight. I carried weight when I was a kid, and I was a bit of an overweight teen. I then exercised my ass off to lose weight, and I grew at the same time, and I lost weight. I have a body type that would gain weight naturally if I didn't exercise and watch what I consumed. My brother, on the other hand, doesn't really have to do that. He has the genetics that burns energy quicker, and his body type just processes food better. That is the way it is. I can't give out about it. Well, I can, but there's no point, because nothing's going to change. When it comes to kids, there is different kids, and some kids gain weight because of inactivity. Some kids gain weight because of food choices. Some kids are naturally, they might be born with a thyroid problem. There's no such thing as big bones, okay? It's not the bone. If you had gigantic bones, you would be a monster strong. Okay, it's not that. If your kid is carrying more weight, there is an issue there. And here's the direct fact. Now, the research states a lot of stuff, but if you were the parent and you have all of that processed crap in your house, and you do takeaways a lot, the onus is on you to change that. Okay, and you can't give out, you can't say it's the government's fault, it's the advertiser's fault, it's this. if you're going to be a parent, or if you are lucky enough to be a parent, it is your responsibility to act like a parent, not like their friend. Don't mollycoddle them. Teach them that health is their wealth, and that moving forward and having a good lifestyle and being active is pretty much why we were put on this planet. And that's just my 2 cents there. I really think, and I really feel strongly. If you disagree with me, I'd love to hear your comments. Again, I won't tolerate any negative or ranting comments, but I'm open to speech and having a conversation about it. And if you wanted, I'll put you on the show. But moving back, we are going to take a quick 2-minute break just while I change batteries, and we are going to be back in just 1 second.
You're listening to the Live, Play podcast.
And we're back. Okay, so I hope you like the new intro music. I think it's pretty cool, but that's just me. So back to the topic at hand. Moving on into what the research on kind of the health risks and some of the health risks that come with having excess weight in your body, being categorized in the obese category, especially in children. So, and this again comes from the Irish Heart Foundation, irishheart.ie. Type 2 diabetes is generally something that is actually something that is kind of self-inflicted through bad diet over a course of many years, and generally happens to people in their 40s. It doesn't always happen to people in the 40s, but research from the Irish Heart Institute, irishheart.ie, has seen children at the age of 12 with type 2 diabetes. Type 1 is something that you can be born with, or you can have an accident and end up that way. Excuse me. But type 2 diabetes is actually something that can be prevented. And in my honest opinion, I think if a child is allowed, has type 2 diabetes at the age of 12, I think that is a very, very big problem that needs to be addressed. Okay, this is what this is an outtake of the research from the Irish Heart, or the article the irishheart.ie posted. A diabetes expert has said that children as young as 12 years old were presenting with type 2 diabetes due to overweight and obesity. Now, the Irish Heart are talking about this because of the problem that comes with diabetes. A lot of my family have suffered with diabetes, aunties and uncles, and it is not a fun thing. You can lead to blindness, heart disease, all sorts of things, losing feet, because of just the body can't regulate itself properly. So Dr. Mary Ryan is a consult endocrinologist at Bon Scores Hospital in Limerick, with a specialist interest in diabetes, heart disease and hormonal health. Speaking to the Irish Heart Foundation, Dr. Ryan warned that the increasing rate of obesity and overweight in Ireland meant that type 2 diabetes was in epidemic portions. Epidemic portions. They don't throw those words around lightly. That's because children shouldn't have type 2 diabetes. That's why. Right? That's nuts. Okay? There is outliers. There's outliers and stuff happens. But that is a 1 percentile. It is not a growing trend. It's not a trend. It shouldn't be a trend. And it is just to the point, child abuse, if a child at the age of 12 is getting diabetes because of their nutritional habits and lack of activity. Let me go on. Sorry. Whereas in the past, type 2 diabetes was typically only seen in people over the age of 40. Dr. Ryan said it was now being diagnosed in younger children. Wow. Just wow. 4 years of age, 12 years of age. Do you think we have a problem? Yes. Is it child abuse? In my opinion, yes. I read a book by Dr. Bernstein. He was literally the guy that literally recreated how people deal with diabetes. It is 100% avoidable, and
It is 100% treatable if done right. Guess what? Move More, Eat Better is the pretty breakdown of that gigantic book. And half of it I couldn't read because of the actual research and science I put into it, that he put into it. Crazy. Diabetes leads to all sorts of problems. Really, this should never, ever be an issue. It shouldn't be an epidemic or a trend. It should be kids, okay? They shouldn't have to deal with adult problems that are self-inflicted by adults. I don't think a child will self-inflict themselves to overeat or to consume that much food and be that inactive. I think that is an educational aspect, and I think that is not only the family unit, I think that is the culture of this country needs to change. Moving on, that's one bad thing. The next one is the removal of teeth due to bad diets. Now, there was a show on this on Channel 4, a TV show on the removal of teeth in children. And I've heard about it in Ireland as well. I spoke to a dentist who said that he's performed many extractions of teeth in children at the age of like 4 or 5. These are baby teeth that are being removed because of decay, because of sugary drinks, processed food, and just because they're not eating the correct food, they're not developing their teeth and they're rotting. Now, I have a 3.5-year-old. He is really particular about what he eats. And he won't eat a lot of food. He will eat some veg. He'll always eat his dinner. But there's a lot of stuff. He won't try anything. And to our bane, he won't try anything. Even some nice foods he won't even try. And I get some kids don't eat certain foods. I get that. But that does not mean substitute it for bad food. There is alternatives. There is other ways. Ask your doctor. Ask a nutritionist. Figure it out. We're pack animals. We follow the leader. Again, as I said, monkey see, monkey do. It's how we approach things. I'm not saying I know the answer 100%, but I'm saying there is ways around it, and you just got to look for them. If your children are that important, we have to look for it. We all as a society have to look for it. This study came from the Royal College of Surgeons, and it is shocking. All right. So the NHS. Now I know this is England, but like in all fairness, we're not too far behind them if we're not the same as them, according to the dentist I spoke to. The NHS figures obtained by the Royal College of Surgeons show there were 9,206 tooth extractions performed on children aged 4 and under in 2015-2016. Let me say that again. 9,206 tooth extractions performed on children aged 4 and under in 2015-2016, an increase of 24% since 2006-2007 due to decay. A 4-year-old shouldn't be having his teeth extracted unless he got like a knock. I got like hit in the face. That's the only reason. Like, and you got a loose tooth, you have to remove it. Or again, an outlying issue where the tooth was growing too fast, or the tooth underneath was growing, or something. But your baby teeth are meant to fall out, right? It's natural development. 9,000 extractions, not distractions. Extraction, guys. What? What? Crazy. I'm just like I'm baffled. I read more into that. I didn't write down here. But I read more into that. They have done extractions on children aged 1 years of age, barely getting their teeth due to decay. That isn't the child's choice. That was not the child's choice to consume whatever food it wanted. That is a serious thing, and that should be stopped. It should be stopped through education, and it should be stopped in the home. And you cannot put your hand up and say, I didn't know better. For your child's sake, you need to know better. Don't pass the buck. Don't pass the blame on the government or the marketing or anything like that. That is your child. You are responsible for that human life, and they should not be going to a dentist to have their teeth pulled at the age of 1, 2, 3, or 4. Again, I get angry about some of this stuff because I just think it's really people try and pass the buck so they don't have to blame themselves, and it's okay. It's not. Okay. So school activity. Okay, physical education. When I was in school, physical education was once a week for like 40 minutes. And pretty much you got to do what you want. In primary school, you got to kind of got introduced to some other things. Excuse me. But in secondary school, you kind of got to do what you want. And if you didn't want to do physical education, you didn't have to, unless you played a team sport. Now, there's a few things here. From people I've spoken to and teachers, some teachers aren't really interested in activity. So if you're not, and here's the thing, children pick up on a lot of stuff. And we say this about our kids program. We'll only hire a coach that is passionate about working with kids because we know our kids will spot if the adult is not interested in working with them or having fun or educating them, because children are very, very self-aware and they're very, very knowledgeable and they can figure people out very quickly. But when it comes to teachers, you might want to be a history teacher, geography teacher, or a Spanish teacher. But if you're not into fitness, kids will figure it out. So if you're not keen on being active, the children won't be sold on it. Okay. Now, I'm going to read through. I've downloaded the physical education mandate for schools, the teachers and the kids. I've perused over. I didn't go into detail because I kind of knew what was going on. It is very intensive, and it's there's a lot there. It is very it's inclusive for all children, but not all children are going to be active because naturally they're not coordinated. They haven't been taught how to jump or land or roll or tumble. And then if you're not very comfortable in your own skin doing movement, you're not going to want to be active, even if there's enough activity there. So I think what they're doing is good, but we can make it so much better and get that 10% down, actually increase that by about 40-50% by 2025 if you do it right. The Children's Sports Participation and Physical Activity Study in 2010 reported that 19% and 12% of post-primary school children meet the national physical active requirements, and that was from Woods ETAL 2010. Now, I know that's 9 years ago, but that was the only study I could find from done on this. So that was 9 years ago. By the looks of things, because I put out a post to our members group and asked parents about their kids' physical activity rates. And there seems to be an awful lot. It's like at least 2 times a week. They're doing extra activities. Because I asked the question, are they doing, this is what the school is providing, not extracurricular activities. It's not like I do this because I pay extra for it. It's what the Board of Education is actually doing for our kids. And it seems to be that kids are getting, well, the people that I've spoken to or that posted back to me, they're getting a lot of activity. But there still is a lot of, that's what is the requirement, but is it actually happening? Okay, and obviously I don't have the time to go around to every school and make sure it's happening. I would like to, but it's not. So what can be done here? Like, kids are moving less. Their natural ability to play is less. They're not able to coordinate themselves. They're jumping, landing. Here's the thing. You're not naturally gifted to jump. You have to learn jumping mechanics. And like one of the best games, and it was posted, is hopscotch. Hopscotch was one of the best games for learning jumping technique. You didn't know you were learning, but you were learning through hopscotch. Learning to roll, learning to tumble, climbing a tree, play. Statistically, and we're going to have Mickey Martin on our show, and she's going to talk about the benefits of play. But we learn more as kids, and even as adults, we actually learn and process stuff more through play. It's how animals learn to hunt in the wild, and it's how children learn the best is through play. So we got to get on that. We got to get on that train. We got to play more. We got to be more interactive. So what can we do as people, as a parent, You as a parent or as a teacher or as a health professional, what can be done? Well, I believe, and I categorically would state this, is that it starts at home. Don't pass the buck. If your child's not into, my child's not into sport, there is something your child would like to do that requires activity. Okay? And as I said, monkey see, monkey do. If you get up in the morning and you're active, and you're constantly active, and the whole family's active, eventually, even it's going to be hard for some kids that have not been active, they're going to fall in line. And at the end of the day, their health is more important than you being their best friend. So if you're saying, we're doing this because you're a child and I'm an adult, then let's go do it. But there is something, that's the last resort, but there is something that you can do to help them. Okay? Here's a few suggestions that I generally give out on the radio when I'm on Spirit FM. Weekly family outings, not just walks. Once a week, your family gets together and you do something as a family, regardless of how stroppy your teenager is, because it creates firstly the family unit, and then it just creates that it's, if you do it enough, it becomes the norm, and the child might get up and go, oh, we have to do this today, but they're going to do it. And despite that grumpy tone of 11, 12, 13-year-old, they actually tend to enjoy it. They just don't want to admit it. Okay? No electronics on Sunday or Saturday or whatever day, or even in the evening at a certain time. When they come home at 6 o'clock, all phones go in a drawer in the kitchen, or on Saturdays or on Sundays, whatever day you want to choose, there's no electronics. Because if you unplug, they're going to be more interactive, okay? They're either going to read more, they're going to be more interactive with you, they're going to be more willing to want to do something. So if they know on Sunday they get up, they can't check their phone or go on their iPad or go on their laptop or play computer games, they're going to want to know, hey, what are we doing today? Okay? Little things like this. 10-minute family exercise in the morning. This is something that I think could be absolutely brilliant. If the family got up and is getting up early, oh my goodness, go to bed 10 minutes earlier. If you're staying up and watching your Netflix shows and you're concerned about activity of the family unit, then stop watching that show for an hour, go to bed an hour earlier, get up an hour earlier, and with your family, make everyone get up. And again, if you do it long enough, it becomes repetitive and it becomes routine. You get up, you do 10 minutes of active fun where you do some exercises, but you got to do it too. You can't just send your kid off somewhere. You as the parent got to be willing to do it. And it mightn't be fun and you might hate it, and you're an adult and you get to do what you want, and that's cool. But if you have a child, it's your responsibility to step up and help them if they need that. And even if they don't need it, it's a good way to build a family unit. Do some squats, some burpees, do some yoga, do some meditation, do something 3 times a week, and every time it's something different. Try something new. It's crazy, but it might just work, and it will bring you as a family unit closer together in the long run. Pretty sure. All right. 10 minutes of family exercise, I said. Play games. When was the last time you as an adult played a game? Kids love games. We learn the best through games. Playing games like Frisbee, even if it's just like board games, it's just activity, it's mental activity, it's good stuff that we can do. Climbing trees, like you could put in, even if you're playing a board game and someone loses a turn or something like that, like Monopoly or something like that, if they go to jail, do 4 squats, go to jail, do 4 burpees. It's even those little bits of movement regularly will 100% help the family unit and will 100% help that child. Okay, climb a tree. When was the last time you climbed a tree? Climbing trees is cool. I know with insurance and all that stuff, but climb a tree. Go to Glendalough. Go to your local forest. Climb a tree. Run around the woods. Like, just be outside. It's amazing. It just helps. It really does. Lead by example. You are, again, as I say, monkey see, monkeys do. You might get a t-shirt, monkey see, monkey do. Lead by example. If you're doing it regularly enough and you're making it inclusive and fun, and that you're not a disciplinarian to the point where you're saying you have to do this, we encourage people to do stuff. If you're not looking for perfection, you're looking for progression of the child didn't want to do it and now they still don't want to do it, but they don't give out as much. Those little wins. Okay, and stick on the here's one that I did before. I was asked to do it, and actually, in all fairness, I don't do it now, but it does work. 100% works, right? stick on your favorite song in the morning. All right? Firstly, your kids will either break their shit laughing at you, or they even might join you, especially the younger kids. I actually did this when I wrote this. I actually did this with my son the other night, and firstly, Susan thought it was hilarious, and my son joined in with me. Now he's 3, but it started like if he doesn't know that it's embarrassing yet. Okay, stick on the corniest song or your favorite song that makes you laugh, nostalgic or whatever, and dance for 3 minutes. Just dance. It doesn't matter if you're a good or bad dancer. Just move. There's 3 minutes of movement. Okay, we were doing I think it was Backstreet Boys. Okay, I know that's bad. Backstreet's Back. That was the song that was on. We both ran into the kitchen and danced in front of Susan for fun. Jodie had loads of fun. I had loads of fun, and Susan laughed her ass off at me and thought Jodie was the cutest thing in the world. Okay, so they're little things that you can add in and you can do. Now, moving on. Child is not interested in sport. Now, this is going to be another topic that we're going to cover because not all sport is fun, and as we age, sport gets harder. And if you're not naturally coordinated, generally coaches tend not to want to work with you because they want the best players playing. And unfortunately, that is the side effect of sport. It grows into the best players. I mean, that's just the unfortunate. Now, I'm all about sport, but it's for a lot of kids, that's how they stop being active. And for years, we've been told that to be active, play sport. It's not necessarily the case. My child is not interested in sport, does not like to exercise, is last to be picked. A kids' fitness program will help. Okay, this isn't a plug at me and our kids' program. We know what we do. We know what we do works. We know we're very good at it. But your child, there's a lot of Brand X method training centers. There's a lot of coaches out there that are passionate about helping kids understand that exercise is good. Exercise is fun, and it can be part of your lifestyle. As I said, we're going to do another podcast on this. We have a lot lined up. But at the end of the day, after all is said and done, no matter how much people put out there for activity, our obesity rate in children is getting bigger. We can stop this, and it starts at home. Now, all the government initiatives will help, but it starts at home. Okay? Don't pass the buck. Don't pass the blame. Start putting in the work. If you don't know what to do, reach out to someone. Email me at info@fsmbray.ie. Tell me what the situation is, and I'll give you my honest feedback and my honest tips on how to get you there. If not, reach out to the HSC, to Sport Ireland, to any to your local government partnerships that about sports and inclusivity in sports. Reach out and ask them for help. Talk to more people and do your best, because your health is your wealth and your children are the future. And I know how much corny that sounds, but it's true. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Share it with your friends. Let them know that you listen to the Live, Live, Play podcast. We are on YouTube. Like and subscribe. Follow us. We are on Podbean and we are on Spotify. So you can watch us. You can listen to us in the car. You can listen to us anywhere. Guys, thank you for being on the show, for listening to the show. And I will see you next time. I am out.
You're listening to the Live, Live, Play podcast.